Good evening. Welcome to another Thursday night, 7:30 prediction show. As always, if you're watching, get your comments in. We're going to go through every single prediction for week 2 of the Premier League fixtures. What a weekend it was last weekend. How many goals were scored in some of the games? If you're watching back, remember to subscribe, get on the link, and remember on every night in the week, near enough now. So there's a show on a Monday at 7:30, a Wednesday at 7:30, mine at 7:30 on a Thursday, Reedy on a Friday, and Jamie on a Sunday at 9:30. But it's 7:30 and it's time for the prediction show and another one of your fan zones.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the Fan Zone show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, and Hope Against Cancer. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Like I say, guys, if you're watching now, get your comments in. Reece just said there was 33 goals last week in the Premier League. That's got to be quite a high one for the season. Matty Bond says, good evening. Evening, Matty. Evening, Maz. Good to have you on. Liverpool, Bournemouth. We will start with that in a minute. As always, I've got my sidekick with us on the show. Jack's with me. Evening, Jack. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. I'm looking forward to watching a former Fox. Massive fan of Iain Hume, me. When I was growing up as a kid, watching Iain Hume in a Leicester City shirt. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, you've took the stage and I'll bring him on. And tonight, for the guest, these points are for the guest. We've got the very, very special person on. He's a great player for Leicester. Probably don't get the credit he deserves half the time or take the credit he deserves. But we have the one and only Iain Hume.
Afternoon, guys. Well, afternoon for me, evening for you. Always a pleasure being on.
Oh, mate, always a pleasure. I said to you before, let's pop this on screen. The pressure is on the guest tonight. A big start from Jono with 11 points correct. He got 11 points for last week's round. I think he got 2 correct scores and he got loads of results. Jack with a modest week and me with a shocking week to start with, boys. 6 points, poor for me. I'm blaming Liverpool scoring a third. I had them 2-0. Let's get some comments in. Neil, hi. Good evening, as always. For the Facebook user. And another one for Nicky. We'll get them out there early. But we'll go straight into it, boys. A big game for Liverpool versus Burnley to start the weekend off the 12:30 fixture in the Premier League, the first one on Sky. Start with you, Jack. What is your prediction for this game, mate?
Liverpool completely battered Norwich at Carrow Road. Not a great start for Norwich coming back into the Premier League as champions of the Championship for sure. It's going to be a difficult one for Burnley. They went 1-0 up against Brighton and ended up losing 2-1. They don't seem to know how to defend. They struggled very much last season and nearly got relegated. I can only see this game going one way with Salah performing and Firmino, and now I'm going to go Liverpool 3, Burnley 0.
Iain, what's your prediction, mate?
Well, being a red, it's I'm obviously going to go for a win. But Burnley's always a tough one for us. Like I know we beat them comfortably majority of the times, but they always give us a tough game, and I have a feeling they'll score because the way they play. But then again, we've got Virgil back, so it's a different one. Yeah, but even then, I still think with their set pieces, they'll cause us problems. So it will be comfortable, but I'll go for 4-1 home win.
4-1. Oh, nice scoreline there. Remember, guys, get your score prediction in for this one. I'll read them out in a minute. I think it's a comfortable win for Liverpool at the weekend. I mean, Burnley were 1-0 up and lost to Brighton last weekend, and this is a Brighton team who all people are predicting to go struggle this year without Ben White in the team. And Burnley made 1 or 2 signings, but haven't really strengthened enough for me. I'm going for a 4-0 Liverpool win for this one. But guys, get your predictions in. See what else says. Jay says a 4-0 as well. He's agreeing with me on this one. The Silver Fox says 2-1 to Burnley. Oh, that'd be a bit of an upset.
Leave it out.
Neil says 4-0. Facebook you says 5-0. Reedy says 1-0 to Burnley. I think that's a 1-up, Reedy. Last year. I mean, they did win 1-0 last year. We will remember that one. Happy birthday to Huth as well today, by the way. Everyone's mentioned it. Then we go down to the second fixture. An interesting one. Aston Villa coming off a 3-2 defeat to Watford, and Newcastle getting absolutely destroyed at home to West Ham. So, Jack, what's your score prediction in this one, mate?
Newcastle couldn't really handle West Ham in the second half, losing 4-2 to them. Newcastle don't seem to have as many players today. They've now signed Joe Willock from Arsenal for £25 million. Is that good investment? I'm not really sure because I'm not really a Newcastle fan. Obviously, Newcastle want Mike Ashley out. It's never really happened, has it? Selling the club here and there and never really going through with it in the end. Aston Villa, like you say, lost 3-2 to Watford. Yeah, I'd say the penalty we're looking, 96 minutes. It's, game in buried, isn't it, by that point? Aston Villa, no chance coming back. They don't seem the same team when they got Jack Grealish in the team. That could dampen their mood this season, selling Jack Grealish for £100 million. He was a very key player and set up most of their goals. So I'm going to go for Newcastle to win 2-1.
Newcastle win 2-1. Yep. Iain, your prediction, mate?
I agree wholeheartedly. Without Grealish, they're not the same animal. But they've also made some good signings with Leon Bailey and Buendia. Two special players. Bailey's got pace to burn. I've watched him this summer in the Gold Cup with Jamaica, and he's if he hits the ground running, he could be something special for Villa fans. And being back in front of their home fans, full house, 100%, it's going to be a full house. It's always tough. Newcastle, after a Tonkin the other day, they're not going to come in full of confidence. So Danny Ings in the squad as well, a guy just born to score goals. So I'm going to go for a home win. I'd probably say, again, with Newcastle, it depends on St. Maximin. If he shows up, he could beat any player, any defender in this league on his day, but you get that once every 10 games. So is this going to be that one? I think Newcastle will score. I think Villa will win comfortably. I'll go for 3-1 home win.
I went for 3-1 as well. I've just got this feeling Aston Villa at home this time. You've got a lot of players coming into the team. Bailey looks like a great little signing for me, and Buendia was tearing it up in the championships. They've replaced for me Grealish with two exciting young talents who will do them well and bring that experience of Danny into the front line to help Ollie Watkins is massive. So I've gone for a 3-1 win. You see what the fans are saying. Silver Fox says that 3-1 as well. Jay says a 2-2 draw. That could be an interesting game. Geordie's 3, Villa 0. Hamza hat-trick. That's if Hamza signs for them. We'll be interested to see on that one. Neil says 2-1 to Villa. I hate to say it. Of course you do. Facebook you says 2-2 draw. I don't think that's the last one for those. One. Reedy says 2-1 to Reed. Reedy's going for away wins tonight. Interesting stat.
More points on the action.
Exactly, yeah. We then move on to a London derby. Crystal Palace got absolutely hammered last weekend at the possible champions of the league this year, and Chelsea, my tip to be up there to win the league. Against the Brentford side that walked over Arsenal for fun in the end of it. Jack, what's your score prediction for this one, mate?
I think Brentford, very good side. They play very quick football. Some defences in this division don't seem to know how to handle that sort of football. Thomas Frank set his Brentford team out to go and beat Arsenal. They did exactly that. They were all over Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal stood a chance in the end. 2-0, a great opening game, and welcome to the Premier League, Brentford. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, didn't really have a great day out at Stamford Bridge. What a goal by Alonso from a free kick, caught the goalkeeper napping at his front post. It's not a great start for Patrick Vieira, his new Crystal Palace manager. Selhurst Park is a difficult place to go for any football team in this league. The Crystal Palace fans will be pushing on the atmosphere as well throughout the whole match because they're a very good set of fans at home and they're very loud. I'm going to go Brentford 2, Crystal Palace 1. Wilfred's a hard score for Palace.
Iain, what are you thinking on this one, mate?
Well, again, it's same as the St. Maximin question is, does Zaha show up? He's a moody little git. And if he wants to... No, seriously, he is. He's incredible. hence the reason why United signed for all that money years ago, and obviously played against him with Leicester and with Preston and that. And the guy's incredible. Like, he's insane amount of ability, but is he going to trip over his dummy down the line? But it's one of those. Palace is a tough ground to play at. It's small, but Brentford have just come up through the Championship and been playing that same style of football for the last 7 or 8 years. And they were impressive last week, like very impressive. And I think Frank's got them set up to come and attack this league. And I think Palace, fortunately for Brentford, is one of those teams that they can do that with Patrick Vieira and the way he had them set up last week. They got absolutely hammered. And I think it's going to be an away win. I think Palace will score at home, but I think Brentford 2-1 is what I'm going to go for here.
Another 2-1. I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. I just think Palace at home with their fans, if Zaha turns up on his day, can destroy anyone. And I think this is a different Palace team to what we've seen over the years from Roy Hodgson. They're going to set up to attack a lot more than they've ever attacked in their lives. And Patrick Vieira is going to want a reaction from them after last week's performance. And we all know Vieira from back in the day. He will get that reaction. I think under Roy Hodgson, he'll be questioning what was going to come. I think under Vieira, he will get a reaction a lot quicker. And the pressure's on him. You know, first home game, the Palace fans are going to want to see a performance, what style of play he's going to bring to this Palace team. So I went for a 2-2 draw.
Let's not get overawed by this Vieira, by the way, because he was an incredible player. But at New York City, he was horrendous. At Nice, he was horrendous. So let's not get hung up on the fact he was a boss, because he was incredible as a player.
As we say, not every great player becomes a great manager. I just feel that if this time is probably his last opportunity he's going to get. If for me in the Premier League, if he doesn't make it work, so he's going to be putting everything into it. Because, like we've seen, if this doesn't work, where does he go? Where does he go in the management level? You know, it didn't work in America. It didn't work in France. He hadn't really got a sidestep. It was the same at Gary Neville and Phil Neville in Valencia. It didn't work. They've never come. Yeah, it's Thierry Henry. It's never worked. So this is a big step for him. So I just think he knows he's got to perform on this one. 3-1 to Brentford, Jay says. Really says a 2-2 draw. Facebook you says 3-1. So it says 3-0 to Palace. Zaha on the scoreboard. 1-0 to Brentford. Sam says 2-1 to Palace. Josh says 1-0 to Palace. A lot of Palace wins here. Another draw, Ian says. Liam says 2-2. Then move on to the third fixture. What's another interesting one? A Leeds team coming off an absolutely hammering at Old Trafford and deserved to get hammered by the looks of some of the goals they conceded against an Everton team that went behind to a poor mistake by Keane at the back and then recovered to win 3-1. Jack, what's your prediction for this one, mate?
Everton, obviously, like you say, went 1-0 behind, won 3-1 in the end. Everton are going to want to build still, aren't they, under Rafa Benitez? He's still got a job to do there. They don't seem to be very good at the back still, Everton. They've still got a lot to work on defensively. Pickford's still got a lot to do as his goalkeeping as well at a normal club in not England. I think Leeds, a battering, as you say, a great goal from Ailing, by the way, rocket into the top corner. You would have thought would have gave them confidence, but it didn't. Man United took advantage and completely smashed them. Which you'd expect from Manchester United to go and beat Leeds, wouldn't you, on paper? But in the Premier League, anything's unexpected to happen. So never write any team off in the Prem. And I think Everton with Damari Gray, did he really have a great game against Southampton, or was he same old as before when he was played for Leicester? Bayern Leverkusen was quickly to get rid of him, weren't they? I think it's going to be Richarlison. Is Richarlison still in the team, or is he banned from FIFA? Is it? Is he banned?
I don't think he's banned, mate. He should have got banned for the dive.
No, apparently he was going to be banned for 3 games from FIFA. Something to do with the Olympics sort of situation. I'm going to go for Leeds 2, Everton 1. The home crowd would be massive there, and Leeds like to get beyond their team. So, yeah, 2-1 Leeds.
Ian, what's your one on this one?
the big point there at the end was Ellen Road, man. Like the fans are as insane as they are anywhere in the country, and you telling me that's not going to be absolutely jumping for 90 minutes, regardless what's going on. But Leeds are they're a home team, especially in the Prem. Is the way Bielsa has them playing. They're 100 mile an hour for 90 minutes. It's tough when you're at Old Trafford and you have those players against you. And when you do leave gaps, you get exploited. Everton, are they the same animal as Man United on the break? I'm not sure. Again, depending on Richarlison, whether he's available. Andros Townsend and Demarai Gray don't really strike fear into your heart as good as they have been, but they don't do the same thing as what any player that played for United does. Ellen Road will be jammed. I'm going to go I'll go the same scoreline. I think Everton will score because Leeds will leave themselves exploited at the back, but I think Leeds will win 2-1.
2-1 again. It's a tricky one, this, because, confidence-wise, Leeds might have taken a bit of a dent in, but we also know how quickly they recovered last year after having a couple of poor defeats. Look, Old Trafford isn't the place to get the best of times, but the first game of the season after COVID, 75,000 fans in there. They were raucous. They were on the Leeds players back from the start, and Leeds team didn't have Phillips playing in the centre of that midfield, who I think is crucial for Leeds to make them tip with a high press. Leeds at home, a different animal, and I'm going for a 3-1 Leeds win today. I just think Everton, they got lucky last week against a Southampton team who had lost a lot of players again and not replaced them, and I wasn't surprised by the scoreline in the end, and I just think Leeds will have too much for Everton, so I'm going to go for a 3-1 Leeds United win. Reedy says 2-1. Sam says 3-2 to Everton. Lee says a 2-2 draw. Jay says a 3-2 Leeds win. Scott says a 3-1 to Everton. Ian says 2-0 to Everton. A lot of Everton wins out here. Leeds 2-1 Neil. Lillian 6-3 Leeds. Sarah says a 1-1 draw. Liam says a 3-2 Leeds win. What's this? Demarai Gray looked dangerous with crosses for Everton. Also, Richarlison doesn't start. DCL will replace a big target. Yeah, I mean, we all know that. He's a good player for them. We then go to another tricky game for poor Norwich City, promoted to the Premier League and faces 3 out of their first 4 fixtures, 3 of the top 4 teams. A Manchester City side coming off the back of another 1-0 loss. That's the 3rd one in a row after losing the Champions League final, losing the amazing Community Shield to the greatest football team in the land, Leicester, and then going to Spurs and rolling over in some ways with their £1 million man Jack Grealish barely doing anything from them. But Jack, what's your thoughts on this game, mate?
I think Delia Smith will ask Norwich where they are at half-time. If they're getting a battering. Man City, not the easiest place to go. They've got some cracking players. De Bruyne will be back. Sterling. They've got Jesus as well, who seems to score unexpectedly when you're not expecting him to score. He's no Aguero. We all know that. He doesn't really offer what Aguero does, but he's still in the team, isn't he? He's still a goal scorer. Manchester City have got a really strong team. I think Norwich, their big focus is Todd Cantwell. Apart from Todd Cantwell, who have they really got who's good enough to compete against a team like Manchester City? But you never know. Crystal Palace went to Man City that year and beat them with an Andros Townsend banger. So never write Norwich City off. Everyone's going to expect Manchester City to completely wipe the floor on aisle 1 with Norwich. I'm going to go Manchester City 5, Norwich 0. Big
scoreline there from Jack. Ian, are you matching that kind of scoreline, or are you going to give Norwich some credit?
Well, I was, because his head's over the 2 on Ndidi's shirt. I was going to say let's go off the number that I can see in the camera, but now that you've said that, well, the thing is, Norwich have had the worst of possible starts to the league. Like, you can't ask for Liverpool, who's traditionally beat them up at Carroll Road. And then going to Etihad. The plus side is the Etihad might not be full. Like, even though they haven't been there for a couple of years, they probably still won't be to capacity. So it's one of those. It's going to be tough. they're going to be very, very upset after last week. Obviously, they didn't play well at Tottenham. Tottenham played their game plan perfectly. And now the press raving about the Messiah, Espirito Santo, because he beat Pep, blah, blah, blah. But Pep's going to come back, and Grealish is going to perform. Sterling's going to perform. I like Jesus as a number 9. He's, like you said, he's not like Guerrero. But I'm going to go for a comfortable 4-0. I don't think Norwich will have many, if any, shots on target.
I've joined you on that. I've already picked it as 4-0 in this one. I just think they're going to have way too much. I don't see Norwich laying a glove on them in this game, and I think it'll be one-way traffic for 90 minutes. Maybe the odd counter-attack, Timo Pukki might get involved, but I just do not see where Norwich can open them up in this game. Really says 6-1. I think that's 6-1 to Man City, really. And I know you like your away wins, babe, but you can't be making 6-1 to Norwich, eh? Silver Sock says 4-1. Lee says 4-0 Manchester City. A 2-1 Norwich win. Scott's here hoping.
Put money on it.
Put money on that. That's some money
on that. If you genuinely want to back that, put a $5 on it, and that'll be a 40 or 50 to 1. That there's not a chance. I'll be honest.
5-0 City, mate. It'd be great if that much. 3-2 to Norwich. There's even bigger money if you get that kind of odds. 3 goals. 3-0 Man City. 8-0 Man City. Shock result of 3-2 Norwich. Steph says.
Rashika.
6-2. Wow, some big score lines in this one, I think. We then move to an interesting tie. Both got wins on the opening day of the season. Brighton beat Burnley 2-1, and a Watford team that beat Villa 3-2. Just about crawled over the line in that game. Jack, what's your thought on this one, mate?
They're both going to be full of confidence. Both teams going into this one. Obviously, Watford got that opening win of the season after coming up from the Championship last season. Brighton coming back from 1-0 down to beat Burnley 2-1. I think this one's going to be a really scrappy game. Watford will have high confidence. They'll want to win the game and make it 2-2. So will Brighton. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go Brighton 2, Watford 2.
Nice little score draw there. Ian, what do you make of this? The mid-table mockery, we'll call this one.
Watford are going to be buzzing. I think, obviously, we know how Brighton play. They play really nice football. They are very good to watch. And at home, was the Amex. I think it's going to be a tough game for Watford. I think it's whether Brighton have enough to finish the game off. Obviously, losing Ben White's a big one for them. I still think they'll scrap it. I think it'll be a 2-1 home win.
2-1 home win. I think it's a tricky one.
In case you haven't noticed, I don't like going for draws.
No, I was going to say there's no draws on there yet. I'm going the opposite way around. I actually think Watford will get another win on the road today, on the weekend. I thought I'd go for a 2-1 Watford win. They looked good last week. They got some threatening players going forward. I mean, God, we talk about quick players in the Premier League. That kid's got pace to burn. And I think he might cause some problems for that Brighton back line. He ain't really got much pace in there with Duncan Burn at the back. So I'm going to go to Brighton 1, Watford 2. What's people saying in the chat? Reedy says 2-1 as well to the Watford. Sam says a 2-2 draw. Jay says 2-1 to Brighton. Liam says another 2-2 draw. Neil says a 2-2 draw. You're getting back to it. Simon says a 3-3 draw. Lee says at 2-3. 2-3, another draw. I think you made 2-2, mate. Silver Sock says 2-1 to Watford. Liam says 3-0. Sar hat-trick. Not many people are going Brighton. A lot of draws in there as well. And last one, 4-1 to Watford. That'd be a big result for them if they could win 4-1. We then move to Paul Southampton. Took a bit of a battering at Everton. We're losing 3-1 in the end against a Man United team who will be going there probably to make more changes with all the attacking ability they have now. Jack, what's your thoughts on this one, mate? Southampton versus Man United.
Manchester United are coming off a really big win against Leeds. Southampton are coming off a 3-1 defeat to Everton. Southampton captain Ward-Prowse signed a new contract today, so that's good for Southampton fans, which is a more positive note. They've obviously got Adam Armstrong signed from Blackburn Rovers. He scored in the opening game of the season against Everton. They've sold the likes of Vestergaard, Danny Ings. So they look really vulnerable, don't they? Now they've sold some really key players. Manchester United have just strengthened, haven't they? Jadon Sancho, Raphael Varane. So they've got some really big boys in there in some serious money. And Manchester United are very serious in wanting to compete for the title this season. They beat Southampton 9-0 last season, was it? So it's going to be a difficult one on the south coast for Southampton at home. Obviously, the fans are back as well, which will push them on. But I can only see this game going one way. I'm going to go Manchester United 4, Southampton 0.
A big result, Jack. Ian, what's your thoughts on this, mate? What's your thoughts on Southampton in general, if I'm honest, mate? Because if you're a Southampton fan, you've got to sit there every single season watching your players being sold. And this year, losing Danny Ings, it must be heartbreaking for them.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue because we've used the Southampton conveyor belt a couple of times at Liverpool. So, it is what it is. When they're not pushing on into the top half of the table, you can't ask top players to stay. If they're overperforming or overachieving for them, it's a tough one. As much as fans want players to hang around, but if you get somebody knocking on your door with the prospect of playing in Europe, it's one of those things. It's tough, and I think it's going to depend on them staying up. Is going to depend on how they recruit and replace Vestergaard, replace Ings, because Armstrong's he's a proven goal scorer in the Championship, but that's in the Championship. So was Andre Gray before he moved, and the guys struggled to bang goals. Even what's his face Southampton, the boy they signed from
Che Adams.
He's proven in the Championship, struggled a bit in the Prem. Now he hasn't got Ings. He's going to be the main man with Armstrong. It's going to be a tough one for him. So I honestly, and I like Southampton as a club. Obviously, it was great to play against them and play at I played at the Dell and then play at St Mary's and show my age there. But it's one of those things. They're a great club, but I struggle to see them staying up if they don't replace properly. And I think as much as I hate saying it, as I do not like United, I think they looked ridiculous last week against, not a great opponent, but I think they looked great last week. And if Pogba continues playing the way at least the way he started against Leeds, and Fernandes doing what he does, this might be a game where you don't see Fernandes like he does. He'll be incredible for 90 minutes and then disappear for 2 or 3 games. And the guy's, he is a phenomenal footballer. And then you have Jadon Sancho, then you have Greenwood, then you have Cavani, then you have Rashford, then they're throwing money around, and fair play to them. They've not won anything for a while, and they need to. So I think it's going to be a very, very, very comfortable away win. I think Southampton might sneak something, but I go for a 5-1 away win.
5-1. Battering. You're not showing your age, mate, because as a young fan, I made the trek down to the Dell once, very young, and saw Mr. Cotty score the winner at the Dell. So I'm with you on the old age bracket of being to the Dell and back before it got demolished and they moved. I'm going for a straight 5-0 win on this one. I just do not see Southampton getting near Man United in any way. If the Man U turn up and the Pogba turn up of last weekend, it's a walk in the park for me, and I just can't see how Southampton can touch them. Reedy says a 1-1 draw. That'd be a big result for Southampton. Silver Sox says 9-0. Mate, it can't be 9-0 because that matches Leicester's score there, and they'll be equal with the record. Let's behave.
How about the madness of the transfer market? Arsenal throw out 50 million for Ben White, who's played 35 Premier League games, and Man U get 42 million or something like that for a 5-time Champions League winner, World Cup winner, Euros winner, La Liga. How is that? How is that right? I'm sorry, but that's what makes the transfer market in England laughable.
But this is my biggest point. We'll come to it. It was that Man United have gone to sign a player who have played in 14 major finals and won 14 major finals. What they've done there is gone and got a winner. And if you bring a winner into the dressing room, for me, it only can breathe into that dressing room and make the team get better. And I still think Man U will be floating around that top of the Premier League this year. And
the top four is literally the top four for me. I think they're gonna be massive gaps between the top four and fifth place, or top five. I think, and I'm not being disrespectful, I think Leicester, it's going to be tough because I think the other teams have strengthened, apart from Liverpool, but Liverpool's brought players back. I think anything below 5 will be a 15 point gap. And that's me being honest. I just think it's going to be crazy.
3-0 Man United. Lee says 3-1 Man United. Neil says 3-1. Jay says 9-0. The striker says 3-1. 6-0, Emil says. Simon says 9-0. Oh, God, we won't add all these up. Southampton take a right battering. Chris says a close tie. He's going 2-1 to United. Jono, who was a guest last week, said, I got 11 points. Got to guess a head start. Don't let me down.
I'm trying.
We then move into the Nuno Santo derby. Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Tottenham. Nuno goes back to his old club in the second game of the season. Big results for Tottenham last weekend, beating the champions. And an interesting game for Wolves, losing to Leicester, but by far where they were in the game. And if Adam Toure had decided, or Toure had gone through and scored those goals with the chance he had, and he should have scored, especially in the first half when he went through clear on goal, and a couple in the second half, it could have been a different result. Jack, what's your thought on this one, mate?
It's Bruno versus Nuno. Tottenham are going to be massive confidence going into this one, having won 1-0 against the champions-elect Manchester City. Without Harry Kane as well, may I add. People think Tottenham's just an Harry Kane club, just like Leicester fans and whatever think Vardy, just Leicester and that's it. We ain't got any other players apart from Vardy, but that's not the case. We've proved that. Wolves fell short 1-0 to Leicester. Fantastic goal by Mr. Vardy and his celebration as well, what pissed them off to the max. Adama Traore, he'd be a fantastic winger if he could finish and cross. But he's just got a lot of pace, hasn't he, Hume? A lot of pace.
Just two small things that you need to be a winger then, Jack. Yeah, score goal across it.
Yeah, both. He needs to work on both. He's got all the pace you need. He's the beast of the Premier League, for God's sake. You won't want to defend against him.
Just one question in. You didn't ever use baby lotion on you to keep the strikers and the defenders off you, did you?
Hey, I don't have the body to be doing that.
Just
I only need like a little droplet of it. I'm not half the size of a Adama, by the way.
What's your score line for this one then, Jack?
Wolves played well second half. I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham. Son to get a double.
2-1 to Tottenham and Son score. Ian, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
First and foremost, I hope Nuno gets the proper reception he deserves. I think the guy did phenomenal things with Wolves and got them into Europe, and I hope you don't have that minority who boo him when he comes out, because I think he deserves a knighthood for what he did for Wolves, because they were mediocre. He took over. Obviously, he had a lot of backing, but he did a phenomenal job there, and rightfully got a move to a bigger club. Some say. I just see this as two decent teams competing. I don't see this as a walk in the park for either team. And for the first time ever, I think I'm going to go for a draw. I think I genuinely don't think Spurs have a massive amount. They played well last week, but I don't think they created excessive amounts of chances. Wolves, again, play nice football. How many chances did they create? Not many. 2-3 good ones. But again, when you don't have a striker who's in form like a Jimenez before he got injured. I'm sorry, the young boy Silva, they spent 35 million on him when he played like 2 sub appearances in Portugal. I think that's ludicrous. I think he scored maybe 2 senior goals in his career and he 35 million. Like, that's laughable. So I genuinely see this as a score draw. It's not going to be a bore draw, but it'll be I think 1-1.
1-1. I've gone for a draw in this fixture. I've gone for 2-2 for this one. I think it'll be a bit of an open affair. They'll both probably want to counter-attack at times, so both teams are set up like they did last weekend. Son looks absolutely incredible as always and back to his finest self. Just signed a new long-term contract and probably will be the main man for Tottenham going forward, depending if Kane leaves. And Wolves at home are a different prospect. With that crowd, they turn up really most weekends. So I'm going for a 2-2 in that one. The Silver Sock says 2-1 to Wolves. Ross says 3-0. Evening, Ross. Great to have you on here, mate. Jono says a 2-1 win. Jay says 2-0 to Spurs. A 2-1 Spurs win for Sam. Son Brace. Simon says a boring 0-0 draw. Just what we want on a soccer Sunday, eh? When we want to turn over. Lee says 2-1 to Spurs. Neil says 1-1. The striker says 1-1. And Callum says a 3-2 Spurs win. We'll take that. Want some goals on a Sunday afternoon when you're having your roast dinner.
You'll get them in the next fixture, don't worry.
Well, we then go to a massive London derby into this one. A Chelsea team who are coming off a nice, comfortable 3-0 win against an Arsenal team who lost away at Brentford in the opening round. Mikel Arteta, by the sound of it, from Arsenal Fan TV, has really been put under pressure, and a lot of fans want him gone after one game of the season. Against a Chelsea team who are thriving after their Champions League win and really will be pushing for that Premiership title this year. What's your thoughts on this one, Jack?
Well, they've signed a tank, haven't they? Chelsea, fantastic striker, Romelu Lukaku, makes his presence known. He did at Everton, Manchester United, weren't really a fan of him. Then he went to Inter and bagged quite a lot of goals, scored quite a lot of goals for Belgium. Chelsea have got a good squad, haven't they? Kante, Kai Havertz. They've got some fantastic players and world-class players, rightfully so. Arsenal, could you call them a joke club, to be honest? Deluded as they come, their fan base at times. They want their manager gone after one game, really. You should be backing your manager 100%. But these ain't real Arsenal fans, they're just fake Arsenal fans who ain't willing to back their club like the real Arsenal fans and talk actual sense rather than nonsense. They lost 2-0 to Brentford, which were fully Brentford deserved it. Arsenal really beat Chelsea last season. I think this one's going to go one way. Chelsea, obviously European champions in their own right, beating Manchester City on the biggest stage of the Champions League final. I'm going to go Chelsea 3, Arsenal 0. I think it's going to get worse for the Arsenal over the period, and the fans are going to return even more on the owners and the manager as well. So,
Ian, what do you make of this North London derby, or London derby, we'll call it?
Well, I'm just going to echo the comments there. Arsenal Fan TV is one of the most sickly things I can watch on the highlights and all. I think the guys are deluded. I think they call themselves fans because they go home and away and this and that. And well done. You only go home and away to film yourselves. I think they're embarrassing. As an Arsenal, if I was an Arsenal fan and a proper fan,
be embarrassed.
They throw money and go around here, there, and everywhere. But I think it's embarrassing. I think they never support anybody. They win and then they'll complain about something. They'll lose and then they'll call for somebody's head. And I think they did the same thing with Wenger. And then when Wenger left, they're like, oh, well, we should never have got rid of Arsenal. Well, literally 2 weeks before, you were saying off with his head. And I think they're embarrassing. And I actually don't watch them. I watch them a couple of times and then you see the highlights come up all over social media and all that. And I'm like, they actually disgust me. I know fans have their opinions and fans are entitled to their opinions. You do pay very, very good money to go and watch your team. But the way they do it and the way they go about it is for their own fame and fortune and nothing to do with the club. And I think it's embarrassing. And I think people subscribing to them, just wait for the clips to pop up on social media. You don't have to subscribe and fuel the fire with these mongs. I think they're embarrassing to Arsenal Football Club.
Couldn't agree more.
Arsene Wenger has left a legacy that's been demolished. And at the moment, I think, and no, this is no hit at Arteta. I think Arteta, he's trying to do things his way, and he's just not got the manpower, and he's not getting back to do it. And he's able to sign one player here, one player there. And how do you change the outlook of a team with 50 million on one player and then maybe 25, 30 million on another, and then you still have 8 to replace? Aaron Ramsdale, I'm not sure if that's gone through in time for the weekend, but again, silly money in silly areas. When you got rid of Martinez for 20 million, then you're bringing in Ramsdale, who's been, and no disrespect to him, he's been sold for 20 million 2 years in a row and been relegated 2 years in a row. So I don't see him as the keeper that should be getting brought in to replace Leno, because Leno's not really been at fault for majority of the stuff that's gone on, although the fans like to say he has been. Saka's coming back. He's a big player for them. Odegaard coming in is a massive player for them, but is he the answer? Is Aubameyang going to pull his finger out and pretend that he's actually the captain of the club since signing his 350 grand a week deal? Who knows? Lacazette sits on the bench when he's probably the best finisher at the club. I just think it's all up in the air with that club, and I've got a lot of friends who are Arsenal fans, and I tell them this every single time I speak to them, that the club is it's on a merry-go-round. They don't let people off when they should, and they bring people on when they shouldn't. And I think Chelsea's on the other side. I think Tuchel's come in and he's been phenomenal for them. No hit at Frank Lampard. He put a lot of the tools in there for it to work. Tuchel's just came in and fine-tuned it and made it look a lot better and a lot more organised. And adding Lukaku's just a joke. I think the money they've spent on him is rightful. I think he's been phenomenal, apart from a couple of years. But even then, his record at United was still good for a normal striker. But when the expectation levels were so high, I think it's blown out of proportion, because he didn't come in and score 80 goals a season and they won treble and all that. And Man United fans are just as fickle as the rest of them. But Lukaku coming into a well-oiled machine, I think it's frightening. And I just don't see anything but an away win. I think it's going to be probably 3-1. I think Arsenal will squeeze one late on, or they'll either get an early one or a very late one. But I think it'll be domination from Chelsea.
I'm going for a comfortable Chelsea win here. I'm going 4-1. I really feel Lukaku. You look at the two pictures I saw the day, the one from when he was at Man U and the one for me when he's just signed. He's a totally different athlete. Yeah. The amount of weight he's lost and his build now is ridiculous. He's literally muscle compared to when he was at Man U.
He was a tank at Man. That's the thing. He was a tank at Man United. Like, the people look at the pictures and say, "Oh, he's a lot heavier." He was, but he was a unit. You still see him doing his preseason training in just shorts, and the guy's ripped. But he's slimmed that down and he's trimmed it, and he's a lot quicker and a lot sharper. And you could see it. He's just won Serie A against the unbeatable Juventus. Like, come on, like the guy's earning his keep.
Ross says 5-0 to Chelsea. I ain't joking. Silver Fox says 4-2 to Chelsea. Sam says 4-1 like me. Jay says 4-1 like me. 12-0 to Chelsea. Neil said 3-1, same as you, Ian. Lee says 3-1, same as you. And 9-0 Chelsea win. A lot of 9-0 tonight.
Good shout, Lee. Good shout. Like that.
And then we go on to the biggest fixture of the weekend. The two teams who were pushing for Champions League football last year. Both got wins under the belt at the weekend. West Ham came from behind in the end to win 4-2 Newcastle. And Leicester, we'll say, scraped over the line at the end. It was squeaky bum time those last few minutes in the King Power with the fans getting a bit nervous. We will say that, Jack, because we were very nervous. Jack, what's your thoughts on that Leicester's big game this weekend away at the Hammers?
It's going to be a fantastic game from a spectator's watch. West Ham haven't really done anything in the transfer window so far. They haven't really done strength in depth, what you need for the Premier League and Europe, what Leicester costed us when we went into Europe. Obviously, we had a lot of injuries and couldn't replace players. We had to nip into the academy just to build a team. I think West Ham's going to have that situation this season where strength and depth's going to cost them if they don't sign anyone this window. They're going to end up arguing in January and saying they want the owners and that out, which is really, from a West Ham's point of view, it's ridiculous. You know, they need to start spending money, these owners, if you want to be successful. You're not successful if you don't spend money on the right quality, what you need. And you need to build if you want to play in Europe every season and become a good club. Leicester strong outfits. We've brought in Sumare, not Saka, thinking of Arsenal. We brought in Bertrand and we brought in Vestergaard. Some great transfers from Brendan Rodgers. Whether we bring in Madueke or Berardi, it'd top off the window, wouldn't it? West Ham is no easy place to go. Obviously, we known that last season, going there and losing. Obviously, with the COVID-5 situation with Maddison and that, which we're not going to really pick up on. I think Leicester will win this one 2-0 for me.
2-0. Ian, what's your thoughts, mate?
It's a tough one. I think the result will depend on Ndidi. I think if he can track Souček and stop him doing the late runs that he does, I think at the back, I think Leicester should be all right. Antonio's, it's crazy because I played against him so many times when he was at Chef Wed and that, and he's just raw. And he's never. It's crazy because he's never changed, yet he's still a problem for everybody. He's quick, he's strong. It'll be a tough one, but I think Soyuncu at the back has got the pace and power to compete with him. I think very good sign in bringing in Bertrand, an experienced left back. Not saying he'll play every week, but he's definitely there. Vestergaard, again, good signing, experienced, captained Southampton quite a bit, and he's got that international experience and everything. I think it's going to be to and fro, but I think it's going to be a lot more of a chess game than an open game. I think Brendan Rodgers is going to go there, make sure they don't lose. And this is no hit at Leicester. I just think it's a tough place to go. Thankfully, it's not. It's in the new stadium, so it's not the old blowing bubbles when it lands on you and they throw half the bubbles from around London all over you, and it's crazy at Upton Park. But it's still a tough place, and I genuinely think, I'm going to say this correctly, and I'm not going to be negative. I think Leicester will go there and get a draw. I don't think they'll. I hope they do. Listen, I hope they go there and get 3 points, because that's a massive coup if they can beat them there. But I genuinely think a 1-1 is a good result for Leicester if they go there and do that.
1-1 for you, Ian. I'm going for a 2-1 Leicester win. Probably my heart over my head on this one. I just think we might just nick something, and I've got a feeling Daka could be the game changer. With 20 minutes to go, chuck him on and I let him have a run at Dawson and a Bonner, and let's see this pace he's got, because what we've seen in pre-season, this pace is faster than what Vardy is. And I just think with 20 minutes to go, this is where the game changer will be for Leicester. Last year we didn't have someone to bring on and let defensive worry about, where Vardy and Nacho have been playing, because by that point Vardy was probably feeling a bit of the legs and wasn't as sharp as he has been in pre's this year. Now we've got the options to bring on Samara and Daka and really go for games when teams are starting to lag. So I'll go for a 2-1 Leicester win.
I really wanted Daka with us, by the way. When he signed for Leicester, I was upset. I thought he was going to be a replacement or a sub for us, but no, he's a great signing. He's rapid. At home games, I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen starting the 3 of them up front with Barnes, Vardy, and Daka wide right. I think that would be something that would scare the crap out of most defences. But I'm willing to bet he starts all Brighton.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. A 5-0 masterclass, a 2-2 draw, 1-0 Leicester. We could be becoming the 1-0 Leicester if we carry on with those scorelines. 3-1 West Ham, unfortunately, said Derek. 1-0 to Leicester. 2-2 draw, says Neil. And Spurs lost 1-0. Yeah, it was ages ago we talked about Spurs. 2-1 to Leicester.
Spurs lost just now 1-0 in
did they?
The European Conference.
Oh no, not the conference. You can't not have that trophy. They've got no room in their cabinet anyway for another trophy, Spurs.
Remove all the dust.
Ian, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, mate. Just a quick question: what are you up to nowadays, mate? What are you doing now? You're retired from football.
Am I retired? It's not official, is it? I'm as close to retired as possible. No, it's I'm coaching. I'm coaching my local team here in Ontario. I'm over in Canada, so I'm coaching my local team. And at the moment, we're 5-0 in the league. Conceded 1, scored 15. Boys are going well. Considering we've normally we've normally languished around the bottom half and near relegation over the last couple of years. We've come in and turned the screw a little bit and changed the mentality around the place. So yeah, going very well. Big game tomorrow night against one of the undefeated teams in the league as well. But doing that and my coaching with my brother, we run a company called Limitless, Iain Hume Limitless Coaching. So we do fitness and football, and it's a tough one to break the mold here and trying to entertain people with the fact that soccer coach and former professional player knows more than non-professional hockey players. We're a hockey town, so it's a tough one, and it's something that we're struggling a little bit with, but we're getting there. We're getting into people's heads, and obviously our team, because me and my brother coach our local team, Woodstock Stallions. If we break the mold with this team and prove that we're doing something different, and it'll open other people's eyes, and I think that's what we're aiming at. And is if we put the proof there that our way can be successful, then our business will flourish, hopefully. And we're hoping for coming up the end of September, we'll have a lot more to talk about the business, and we'll go from there.
Brilliant. As always, Iain, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully
Pleasure.
later in the season we'll get you on and get you some more predictions from you and have a catch up then. But for now, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.
Let's see how the results go before you think about calling me back.
It might help me out, behave.
Yeah.
Cheers, Iain. Take care, mate.
All right. See you later.
See you later. And there we go. Another prediction show coming to the end, Jack. Some interesting scores there. Iain Hume only went for one draw in that whole of his list, and that was the Wolves versus Spurs game where he says 1-1. As always, guys, thank you for joining us. Jack, thank you for coming on. You had your show last week. Last night was a brilliant show. Jack's going to the game on Monday night at West Ham, I believe.
Yes.
So what we'll do is we'll get you live and we'll have a show and watch along. But for now, Jack, thanks for coming on, mate.
Pleasure.
And that just leaves me to say thank you to you as always. I mean, we're here every night of the week. Let's just put it out there. We're on a Monday night with Phil for his fan show. Just remember, next Monday, we have a fan show. And then we'll have a live watch along with me. We'll get Jack Darling in from the ground with team news as soon as he has it. Wednesday night's Jack's show. Remember that. Always have his Jack show on a Wednesday night with an away fan. The prediction show on a Thursday night where you've just seen. Get your comments in, remember, and always on that. Friday night, Reedy show. We'll talk about a preview of the game in front. He'll be talking about West Ham on Monday night. And the aftermath show, well, isn't really an aftermath show. It'll be a bit of a look ahead to the Monday night fixture as well, because we play on Monday. But as always, the famous after our show on a Sunday morning. But for now, it's me to say thank you for coming on tonight and joining us. I hope you enjoyed it again. We will see you tomorrow night at 7:30. But for now, enjoy the rest of your evening and take care. See you soon.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors: ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, and Hope Against Cancer. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.